So we're looking at the heart for Bio 105. So let's start off with the chambers of the heart. So if I turn it this way, you can see this chamber here is different from this chamber. And I can turn it this way, you can see this chamber back here is different from this one. The upper chambers, so this one here is the right atrium. The one on this side is the left atrium. This is essentially the divider between the right ventricle and the left ventricle. So this is the right side of the heart, this is the left side of the heart. So right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. So what we see on the surface of the heart here, you're seeing these red blood vessels. Red blood vessels here as well. Arteries are red, veins are blue. There is an exception, those are the pulmonary. But we're on the heart here, and so these guys, the red ones on the heart, are called the coronary arteries. So those are the coronary arteries there. Next here is this structure here, and that is coming out of the right ventricle, and that is the pulmonary trunk. So that is the pulmonary trunk. So as I said, arteries are red, veins are blue, except for the pulmonary ones. So this is going to branch off into these guys over here, and if we follow this around, branches go to the other side as well. So now I'm going to turn it back, and these guys here and the ones on the other side are the pulmonary arteries. So those are the pulmonary arteries. In fact, I'm going to turn this around so that we see the back side. Pulmonary trunk here, branches of pulmonary arteries here and here. Down below those, going into the left atrium, are these red guys here and here, and those are the pulmonary veins. So those are the pulmonary veins. So as I said, arteries are red, veins are blue, except for pulmonary. All right, going back to the front here, this major artery right here is the aorta. As you can see, the aorta is going to go up and it's going to curve here, and so that area where it curves is the aortic arch. So that is the aortic arch right there. Coming off of the aortic arch are three blood vessels, 1, 2, 3. The first branch here is called the brachiocephalic artery. The middle one is the left common carotid artery, and the last one here is the left subclavian artery. So aorta, aortic arch, brachiocephalic, left common carotid, left subclavian. Looking at veins coming up above the heart here, this is the superior vena cava. So that is the superior vena cava, and as you can see, it's going into the right atrium. There is an inferior vena cava, which they show right here, and they're just showing a small little nub of that inferior vena cava. Now let's take a look at valves. So I have to open up the heart here. So if I turn the heart in this direction, you can see that structure right there, and that is the tricuspid valve right there. So that is the tricuspid valve. It is between the right atrium and the right ventricle. If you look on the other side of the heart, we're seeing another valve right here. That one is called the bicuspid valve. So that is the bicuspid valve, and that is between the left atrium and the left ventricle here. Other valves, so in the right ventricle here, we're seeing this valve right there, and that is the pulmonary semilunar valve. So that is the pulmonary semilunar valve, and you can see when blood is pushed through there, it's going into the pulmonary trunk. Turning this way here, in the left ventricle, we're seeing a valve in there as well, and that is the aortic semilunar valve. So that is the aortic semilunar valve. So when our left ventricle contracts, it's going to push blood through that and into the aorta. Next, you're seeing these essentially bump-like structures on the ventricular wall. So there's a large one there, there's a smaller one here, there's another small one as well. Those structures are called papillary muscles. So those are papillary muscles. And what's connected to those papillary muscles, you can see that very easily with this one, is these string-type tendon structures, and those are called chordae tendineae. So those are chordae tendineae. Those chordae tendineae are connected to, in this case, they're connected to the tricuspid valve, but on the other side, they're also connected to the bicuspid valve.